Good morning, YouTube. Today is day 2 of the Mark series, the series where we're going through Mark daily. Alright, and we're just going to jump right into it. Alright, so the first story is Jesus heals a paraplegic. Alright, verse 1. When he returned to Capernaum after some days, it was reported that he was at home. So many gathered around there, and that there was no longer room for them, not even at the front door, and he was speaking the word to them. Then some people came bringing him a paralyzed man, carried by 4 of them. And when they could not bring him to Jesus because of the crowd, they removed the roof above him, and after having dug through it, they let down the mat on which the paralytic laid. When Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralytic, "Son, your sins are forgiven." Now some of the scribes were sitting there, questioning in their hearts, "Why does this fellow speak in this way? It is blasphemy. Who can forgive sins but God alone?" At once, Jesus perceived in his spirit that they were discussing these questions among themselves, and he said to them, "Why do you raise such questions in your hearts? Which is easier, to say the paralytic, your sins are forgiven, or to say, stand up and take your mat and walk? But so that you may know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins." He said to the paralytic, "I say to you, stand up, take your mat, and go to your home." And then he stood up and immediately took the mat and went out before all of them, so that they were all amazed and glorified God, saying, "We never have seen something like this." Who is it easier to whom? For us, it is easier to say you're forgiven. Why? It's because there isn't any empirical test. There's no instant proof. It is an invisible thing. We can just say, yeah, you were forgiven, but we don't have to prove to that person that we forgive them. We can just say it. Healing is public and it is falsible, meaning they can clearly see if he is healed or if he is not. So that is easier for them to see. There's historical context to this. That context is that Jewish culture perceives forgiveness as not easy. So this time, it is easier for Jesus to show them by healing instead of just saying you're forgiven. Jesus isn't just forgiving, he's making a divine claim here. The miracle is evidence to that claim. The miracle is a sign, not the point. Jesus healing the paralytic is him showing his authority. The healing is the evidence, forgiveness is the claim. Only God can forgive sins. That is Isaiah 43, or that idea can be found in Isaiah 43, verse 25. If I can do the visible things we all agree only God can do, then surely I can do the invisible things only God can do. The whole healing of the paralytic is Jesus making the divine claim that he has authority and that he is one with the Father. And the friends here are so powerful as well. Faith of friends is so important. Having friends that believe, they will take you to the believer or to the one that they believe in. Having friends that are believers, they will make you a believer. Jesus calls Levi. These are verses 13. Jesus went out again beside the sea. The whole crowd gathered around him, and he taught them. As he was walking along, he saw Levi, son of Alphaeus, sitting at the tax booth, and he said to him, "Follow me." And he got up, and he followed him. And as he sat at a dinner in Levi's house, many tax collectors and sinners were also sitting with Jesus and his disciples, for there were many who followed him. When the scribes of the Pharisees saw that he was eating with sinners and tax collectors, they said to his disciples, "Why does he eat with tax collectors and sinners?" And when Jesus heard this, he said to them, "Those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. I have come to call not the righteous, but the sinners." The questions about fasting. Now, John's disciples and the Pharisees were fasting, and people came and said to him, "Why do John's disciples and the disciples of the Pharisee fast, but your disciples do not fast?" Jesus said to them, "The wedding guests cannot fast while the bridegroom is with them. Can they? As long as they have a bridegroom with them, they cannot fast. The days will come when the bridegroom is taken away from them, and then they will fast on that day. No one sews a piece of unshrunk cloth on an old cloak. Otherwise, the patch pulls away from it. The new from the old, a worse tear is made. And no one puts a new wine into the old wineskin. Otherwise, the wine will burst, and the skins and the wine is lost. And so the skins, but one put new wines in fresh wineskins." This one's also important. Why? Why do they not fast? Because they're with me, is what Jesus claims. Because they're in my presence. You fast when you want presence of the Lord, when you want to be in his presence, that you're breaking your body for him, to grow in him, to take time away from yourself, but to take time and be with him. Why would they need to fast and break their bodies if they're with Jesus now? They're with him, but one day he will be taken from them, and that is the day they will fast. This is the first foreshadowing of the crucifixion. The pronouncement about the Sabbath. This is verse 23. One Sabbath he was going through the grain fields, and as they made their way, his disciples began to pick from of the grain. The Pharisee said to him, "Look, why are they doing what is not lawful on the Sabbath?" And he said to them, "Have you never read what David did when he and his companions were hungry and in need of food? He entered the house of God when Abiathar was high priest and ate the bread of the presence, which is not lawful for anyone but the priest to eat. And he gave some to his companions. Then he said to them, the Sabbath was made for mankind, not humankind for the Sabbath. So the Son of Man is Lord, even of the Sabbath." This is such an interesting story as well. One, he doesn't say this about David to throw him under the bus, to say that he did wrong. No, he says this as there are times where human needs take priority over the Sabbath. The Sabbath is a gift, not a weapon. Jesus claims authority over the Sabbath. Judaism's holiest institutions, their holiest event, Jesus takes authority over. The Son of Man stands above sacred time, and that is because time with Jesus is sacred. Jesus is not saying the Sabbath is unnecessary. He's not rewriting religion. No, he's recentering it onto himself. The Sabbath is for rest and reflection and refilling. All things that happen when you're in the presence of Jesus. When you're with Jesus, you are rested. You get rested. When you're with Jesus, you get filled by the Spirit, and your faith is filled. When you're with Jesus, you're able to recall and reflect on yourself. Jesus is the fulfillment of the Sabbath, not replacement, but the fulfillment of the Sabbath. He provides rest. And that is the last story, the last section of Mark, chapter 2. And with that as well, that's going to end this video. And I just thank you guys for coming again to listen and to study and to hear and read this chapter with me. Again, this is a daily thing. So tomorrow we're going to be going through Mark 3, chapter 3. We're going to go and dive into it. And if you enjoy this video, again, just come back tomorrow and subscribe to the channel so you keep seeing these. And with that, goodbye, guys.